to Division B here at Pro League. In case you missed it, or if you're just tuning in, Team Envy did fall 3-2 to Denial to kick off the day. I'm your host, Katie Bedford, joined as always by Nameless Pac-Man and Study. We do want to remind you that CWL Anaheim is coming up. It is going to be a great time, so get your tickets. You can see it on your screen right there. We want to see you there. But
That's
guys,
soon, huh?
yeah, I know. It's like
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I feel like we were just at London.
It just flies.
I actually can't wait.
I know.
Go to Cali. I'm already dressed for Cali.
I know. See, we're all excited. You should be excited too. That's why we want to see you there. But now, guys, what I want to ask you right off the rip is, what player do you think in all of Division B you're most excited to see play these 2 weeks? And Nameless, I want to start with you.
Oh, start with me, huh? I don't know. It's so hard to decide. I want to just watch the entire Heretics roster. They keep getting better and better, like top 8.
The whole Vamos.
Then top 6, and they bring so much intensity to this arena. They really bring the energy through the roof, and I'm just excited to see the improvement that they can make because they're that team that's kept their roster. They're continuously improving, and they want that championship. So it's kind of a feel-good story. Can't wait to watch them play.
That is very true. All right, you're up, Study.
My player has to be Simp. Like, he had an unbelievable performance at his open bracket team at Fort Worth. Then he went to London, got second with the most unbelievable stats. My question is he going to get better or is he going to get worse after these 2 weeks? Because we see a lot of people crumble here in 2 weeks. But just overall, I feel like the kid is just meant to be great. So I think he's going to have an unbelievable 2 weeks, way better than London.
What if he stays the same?
If he stays the same, it's still godlike. There's nothing really wrong with it.
We said if he's going to get better or if he's going to get worse. What if he just stays the same?
Stays the same, he's good.
All right, Pac, who are you most excited to watch?
For me, it's accuracy, actually. It's a little different from theirs. Like, before in World War II, I think that he was the highest performing AR, the highest placing AR, and this season, we just haven't seen it that much. But I think that right now is his chance to hit that stride and possibly return to that form, because he's in a spot on a team that's capable of being on the best team in the world, but right now they're just not there. And I think that if he steps up his individual performance, they can get there.
I've never heard anybody say they're excited to watch accuracy run an ICR.
You said a whole team.
Stand still.
You said a whole team.
You said a whole
stand
team.
still. I'm excited to see if accuracy can like get better.
I want to see the entire Heretics.
But like,
what kind of answers?
But who is excited to watch a guy?
Well, hey, we did.
Pick up.
You cheated the answer.
That's not exciting.
You cheated the answer.
We asked Twitter the same question. So maybe someone on Twitter said accuracy as well, using the hashtag CWLPS4.
Everyone.
Who are you most excited to watch in Division B, starting with Shacker? Has to be Octane, playing at such a high level all through London and uses the ICR like no one else. Best AR in the game, and excited to see if he keeps his high level of play.
This is all facts, though.
Yeah, like
Octane is the best
like a
AR in the game.
1.5. Like, you can only
That's
watch
an exciting
Well,
ICR.
number 2. See what the next person had to say. They're most excited to see from Preston. Brack has a ton to prove, but he is disgusting.
Well,
He definitely showed. In that last series, he put on an absolute performance. Our Astra MVP for the day. Definitely showing why he's supposed to be here.
All right, one more chance to see if it's accuracy. We'll pull up our last tweet to see what you guys had to say from Joshua. Has to be Simp. The way he played at London shows he has made his mark on the scene and is fun to watch when making those big plays.
There you go, Joshua. That's what I'm talking about. We're on the same page.
Swifter.
But it said Joshua is his name.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. Joshua, let's go, man. It's Simp.
There's one more tweet that they gotta show us. Please, please bring up this tweet. Look at this. Now, fact of the day. Popsicles are better than ice cream. Now.
Keyword fact of the day.
Now, the weather's getting...
It is the fact of the day.
No, this is from Katie Bedford.
Popsicles are delicious.
Katie Bedford.
Now, this is a true story. I went over to Katie's house. She offered me a treat. She said, "Do you want popsicle?" I said, "Sure." She offered me a diet.
Sure.
She said a diet.
You're a liar.
Pomegranate popsicle.
Okay, first off, it's amazing. And Study can attest that they're good.
They're good.
Yeah,
They're good.
and you're lying. I asked you,
would rather
and you were
have
like,
a diet,
I don't like popsicles.
If you would rather have a diet pomegranate popsicle than ice cream, something is truly wrong with you.
You know what? On that note, mac with ketchup is still godlike, and you're all wrong.
I'm never going over there again.
Good, you're not invited.
Next match.
What's the next match?
Whoever's yelling at me, no.
What's the next match? Give me the next match.
Next match actually is going to be Splyce versus E6. You're banned. Hush. Now, I want to talk about Splyce first, guys, because London was their first showing here in our 3B tournaments we've had where they did not get in the top 3. But, Nameless, to that point, kind of all those teams that have been clustered in the top 3, 4, and all 3 have had a bad placing. So, do you think that says much, or they'll be fine?
So for Splyce, obviously, you know, they lost to Heretics and they got bumped out by Envy, and you know, it's just a bad performance for them. They did have a tough group where they got second place, so they were in a good spot. But it's just uncharacteristic of these guys, right? Like it's pretty tough to get top 3 at every single tournament. Usually, teams will slow down, and they will drop the ball and have that bad tournament. And, you know, on the bright side for them is, you know, Temp is still playing like that superstar.
Yes.
You know, they were able to, you know, work through it and get here with their roster. So we'll see if they're able to fix it. These are players, you know, that have been in bad spots before and have had much worse placings than this and have gotten out of that rut. So this is a team that I think can deal with this, and I think that all these players will rise to the occasion.
I think that this 2 weeks for this team it could be all healing for them, or it could just be damaging like it was for Luminosity. Like, if they don't come together during these 2 weeks, we're going to see a different Splyce roster after Anaheim. This 2 weeks is so important for this team. I can't stress it enough.
Because they're trying. So right now, for those of you at home, like for the Splyce team, they're trying to figure out if they're capable of winning a championship. Right. Like, they've gotten close twice and they failed, and then they wanted to win the next one and they don't get remotely close at all. So now the question that's in all these players' minds is, can we win? Because previously it was, yeah, we can. We were getting close, but we're just choking. Let's fix it. It didn't work. Those improvements did not work. So in these 2 weeks, that's what they're trying to figure out.
All right, and another team trying to figure out these 2 weeks, that's going to be Enigma6 on this other side of the stage. A lot to figure out because they, along with Denial, finished top 16 at London. And again, it's like, Pac, it's like we see blips. Yeah. But not more than blips.
But they said throw away London. It doesn't count. I talked to Godorex and Kismet. The Godorex was so confident. He said, we're super improved. Don't worry about that. We're going to show you what we came here to do. Kismet, on the other hand, was like, we're going to completely poo on these dudes. He didn't say poo, though. He didn't say poo. He said, I'm going to run them over. So Kismet's back to being confident like he was before, like we saw him at the POQ and at the start of the Pro League. Hopefully they can bounce back from that abysmal performance they had at London.
Well, Nameless, you say, okay, not even blips then. You don't have much faith?
No.
I have faith in this roster.
Not versus Splyce. I mean, if Splyce is truly that broken team that is already considering those roster changes, then maybe. But I do have faith in Enigma6 to be a middle-of-the-pack team. I think that they can push and get a top 8. I just didn't really agree with some of the roster moves that they made during that time. I think holding out to Chino at all costs was probably their best bet, and they didn't do that. So it's just going to be tough for me to see these guys getting anything higher than top 8 being their ceiling, in my opinion.
I have faith in Enigma6 winning this series. For some reason, at London, the best game mode was S&D, and they went 4-1 overall. And obviously, they were fairly a new team. No, it was S&D. They went 4-1. But they were barely a new team, so they really didn't get any reputations in. So I'm expecting them to at least go back home and practice, because if they're able to pull out one respawn, at least with the S&D record that they showed at London, this should be a good series.
Well, we will see if it will be a good series. I'm sure it will be. We're ready to get things started now. Splyce versus E6. We're going to hand it over to Ben and Chance.
Thank you very much, Katie. I'm still trying to digest the fact that you have diet popsicles somewhere in your apartment.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, neither did I. Very weird, very weird. But I'm excited for our first series of the week. It could potentially be a good one. And fun fact for you, I don't know if I actually told you this, but yesterday I got delayed over in Colorado. I was at the airport, and I was just sat down. My flight got canceled, but I looked up, and guess who I saw? It was Aqua from Splyce. There he was.
What, from Colorado?
Yeah, it was weird, right? I said exactly the same thing. I was like, why are you here? He was like, connecting flight. Whatever. We both had a cancelled flight, but we ended up having a very, 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 very long discussion, all things Call of Duty, as you would kind of expect. One of the key things we have in common with each other. And he really told me a lot about the insight of how he's personally feeling, how Splyce is feeling, and the devs kind of nailed it. I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of a, we're going to come here, nothing to lose. And if you remember last year, the Echo Fox squad, when they were trying to make it towards playoffs, they had a very similar mentality to what Aqua described Splyce have now. They're just going to play, have fun, and see what the result is. If they start winning, great. If they don't, I think it's a team which, if I'm honest, is already considering roster changes anyway.
I was going to say, it's, you want to make predictions at the start of the day. Who do you expect to win? And in my mind, like, Splyce outright. And then the more I've heard, like, behind the scenes, I'm like, E6, they might be looking good in this series. I don't know, because I think, what was it the Pac-Man said, of this could be either 2 weeks of healing for them or 2 weeks of collapse. I think fits the bill kind of perfectly, because, again, the goal for Splyce is to win championships. Like, even if you're placing top 4 all year, but they're not going to be happy with that. There's enough guys on this roster that will either be sick and tired of coming that close to never winning a chip, or have actually had championships before, and that's the only goal in mind. So close is great. Don't get me wrong. Splyce is going to be a good team. Every single game mode, you can never count them out, sort of thing. But until they win, like, it's just, they need more. It's going to be in the back of my mind, especially with Gunless potentially being like on the table.
So let's hypothesize for just a brief moment. let's say this is a 2-week period that nothing heals and it kind of breaks the team. What is the change you look at after Anaheim with the Splyce squad to push them over the edge?
I mean, step one, what's Gunless doing? Like, it always depends with roster changes. It's what moves can you make, and any of them, will they be beneficial? Because I don't look at this roster and identify any 1 week player or any 1 week like role sort of thing. So like, let's say if Octane just by some miracle became a free agent, be like, I don't know, like you think about it, right? It just depends.
I don't
on
think
the
about
table.
that at all. I say yes, please.
Right, that's my point though. It just depends who's on the table, and if you can't make any good trades, keep in mind, Splyce, if they're a top 4 team in the world, there might not be any good ones for them. Or maybe a player on the team wants to go somewhere else. So it's just, when it's up to the organizations, it's not a free-for-all like we used to have it. It has to be something that is actually possible. You have to make some sort of fair trade, and there might only be 1 or 2 options in total, or there might just be nothing for any team.
Well, for Splyce and E6, their Pro League next couple of weeks starts here. I mean, Hardpoint frequency is map number 1, and it is strange you bring up the point. Obviously, the more you've heard about the situation of Splyce and the murmurs as well, it maybe starts to shift who you think could win this series ever some more towards E6, and so far, Chance, a good start.
Well, and if you're looking at teams to make improvement as well, E6, obviously the respawn that they're going to have to focus on heavily, like not just the Hardpoint, the control as well. I think they were combined 3 and 9 in both of them, so it's been a very struggle. Their S&D was their saving grace, but you say saving, they got top 16, right? So, but when they go home, they go to the drawing boards, it's the respawn. Obviously, they need to focus on, they need more slaying power, they need better everything. And right now, the first still went all right for them, but on the rotation, you got number 9, Frosty, who was in a good spot. He had a teammate with him earlier on. They both kind of left the hill, so now the back spawns are actually going the way of Splyce, but Frosty picks up 2. All the kills are going the way of E6, so a rotation might not have been great, but the kills certainly have been, and that's a good rotation E6 needs.
That's a very, very quick break, if you will, because Splyce were there, ready and waiting, and now E6 can put a little more pressure on Splyce here in terms of the point lead. As it stands, 34-17. 3 kills go in favor of E6. Unfortunately, for E6, Hacker will break through, but he's traded out by Kismet, and E6, just like that, look good to hold on for maybe another 30 seconds, and now you're at the point where you think, all right, can Frosty maybe get streaks?
And this is big as well. Keep in mind, General has had a scorching hot start. Kismet in the back of your mind. You got to be thinking about getting streaks as well. You got a handful of players that are at least in the ballpark, 300+ points away, but more importantly, of course, they need to try to break the hill. Everyone knows going to fall, so when he thought we had of score streaks, that's going to get shut down. Now, a ton of time obviously did go the way of E6, but you see the amount of map control Splyce has right now. They got the cuts mid, they got players U, all their bases are covered. Just need a body in the hill, accuracy moves inside, but of course that means a little bit of map control doesn't go their way. Means you got to pick up the kills and everyone coming from you.
Yep, and Splyce for now at least have it covered. Actually, with the assistance now, he started to work a little closer towards some streaks. A nice pick onto General, but he will fall. It was Kismet that flew straight towards the hill, and you can see E6's plan of attack here is just flood through the front, see if they can get control of the hill, then dictate the spawns, but you still need to win those gunfights. E6 not able to do so just yet.
I will say, though, this has been good for E6 either way, because you saw the map control that Splyce have, but it doesn't take long before they at least get inside, but the resurgence of Splyce is here. You got 2 players alive up top. They're trying to bait and switch each other as much as they can. It's Kismet and Frosty. They can't find anything, and honestly starting to run out of ammo. Splyce eventually take him down, get clearance on the hill, but E6 again on the rotation. Solid job at least chiseling away on that first 20 seconds or so.
And smart from General there. Recognizes, all right, a lot of pressure coming here from Splyce. 3 players. Let me back away. See if I can try and get into a position where my teammates can trade, but now you have to make sure you at least put some damage down. The problem is, no one from E6 does. Splyce easily walk through towards our final hardpoint in the first rotation. And they're in a position now where we should see a lead change.
And this is just brutal. This is attempted trades coming in. None of them have been effective. That is too quick for it to happen. Now you got Looney as the cutoff man, trying to keep 2 players at bay, and he at least takes 1 with him. And that just makes his teammates' job that much easier. Trying to get a grapple play inside the hill. Temp just takes him down with ease. E6 may be able to chip away at this final bit of time, but scrappy game nonetheless. Bit of back and forth, and really, if I'm looking at anyone, I just want GodRx to heat it up.
And now for Temp, all you need is 35 more points. He flies straight in towards the hill. I think he should be good. Is he? No, no.
He won't get it.
Yep. I was wondering if he was going to get that first take. Not going to happen, but an assist, pretty much anything will do for him. Splyce getting streaks, massively helpful for that second rotation.
And of course, Temp is going to be a guy that honestly gets streaks fairly often. He is not slowed down a single bit, whatever their poor placing is. He's been great. The grab slams maybe a little bit less so. He's going to find nothing. And the Tempest on the flip side, at least downing the opponents. Temp, by the way, still in that 6-spree, still looking for it, hasn't found it yet. He's trying to find something mid-map, but it's honestly Triley just trying to avoid the Tempest at all costs.
Problem for Splyce is General now working close towards some streaks too. There's the assist, which was needed for Temp to find his first streak. That's the Lightning. He is still looking towards the Hellstorm, but General, again, for him, working towards 2 streaks of his own. He recognizes the pressure. Good read, just unfortunately couldn't execute. Now for Temp, streaks already being called in.
And I can hear his call. It's actually just 4 in the back. They're all going to be here. He finds Jet Li and Frosty as well, and he's going to invest it all. Wants the back spawns at all costs. Knows General's going to be front orange and should be aware of where the spawns are coming in from E6. But that is a massive investment. That is, you're giving up 30 seconds of hill time over towards you to play for the streaks. To burn them both on this hill, you have to get a lot out of it.
Oh, there's the War Machine as well. So Temp really going all in on this hill, and so far, to his credit, it's worked. Splyce, 20-point lead, 40 seconds left on this hill. They've controlled the back spawns. They have E6 exactly where they want them. The War Machine, of course, will slow down the push. That should be more kills for Temp. There's 2. This man really has been in incredible form all year long. 18 and 7. It is kind of crazy to think just how poor Splyce played at the last event.
It's genuinely insane. I think, what, last event, either he broke the damage record on a map or something close to it, 9,500 damage, something absurd like that. So always got to keep an eye on Temp. Either way, huge investment on the hill. And it does pay off results. They get essentially the full 60. They have a nice little lead they've accrued for themselves. Now, of course, E6, though, they want to respond in kind. See Frosty with the nade, might be able to do some damage, not connect with the kill, but E6 with the hold early on.
And this is almost directly opposite as what we saw in the first rotation, where it was E6, of course, that held P2 and Splyce that held P3. Now E6 have to do exactly what Splyce did about a couple of minutes ago. They need a good hold here. They need to deflect the pressure, get a couple of kills, and then maybe start thinking about earning some streaks. We saw Temp managed to earn for Splyce, but the War Machine is going to be out for Kismet. That will connect with Looney. So far, good job from E6. 30 seconds left, down just about 20 points as it stands. Could maybe try and tie things up, but for now, I want to turn over to a Splyce Astro Gaming listening.
Window or you? Window. One shot dead. He has slam. I'm rotating. Go back yellow.
One more on me.
I'm coming to help. Someone pick up mid if you can.
Try to.
I couldn't. The one could have got inner.
I'll get
Got directions their side.
I have the outer ledge. You could hop up though.
Could he be outer?
What's up mid ladders? Ladder kiss man, 1 yellow window. 2, 3 mid.
3 mid.
One's 2 top mid on you. So that's my yellow. You're good.
He is slam.
2 things. One outer.
Pull up flag soon for flamethrower.
There's 2 in there.
Is that their side hill?
Close.
Watch that inner.
Coming outer.
I'm playing top mid.
What's anything else?
He's close left.
One's close left, Ely.
There's 2 there, outer. General's outer. General top mid. Jelly. One shot dead.
Weaker. Stop the seal. One's close.
I'll pick him mid. Outer.
Jump up top mid. Jump up. Oh, no, we're good. They on there.
General's
You need it.
2 main on me. I got one outer. One shot outer. Dead.
One shot.
I need inner. One shot dead. I'm rotating with you.
I'm rotating too. Let me get Tempest and Hill.
Okay, go ahead. I'll flamethrower too.
Yo, he has slam unless he uses it. Oh, he has it.
Elbow, 2 elbow. 3 elbow.
He's out already.
He's slammed.
One shot, nice.
2 more their side.
I have no ammo, Daniel. We have 5.
I punch one. I'm staying live blue.
Gotta work.
I'll come middle elbow.
Stay alive, Jared. Yo, let me get Tempest in outer, Lamar.
Okay, I'm pushing up.
I'm looking outer.
Trophy for us.
Outer, what's outer?
Blue elbow.
I'm just outer. Top kids,
weak. Outer, close. I got one. One more their side.
Blue. I downed them. Got her.
Come. Mid door. Behind me, blue. You're alone.
We're coming.
I got one.
Nice. We got 5 more streaks. We can run up the hill. Run up the hill.
We're coming. I got left.
I'm looking your left. Let me go first, Jared.
Outer.
He's flamethrower back.
Weak. I'm getting out now.
DK would have been perfect for Jared. Somehow gets out with his life. The Purifier is there. They need the kill. The kill comes through. Jared isn't done yet. The Hellstorm as well. That could be massive for Splyce to close out map number 1.
Man, just running away from flames. He's going to be one shot calling in the grab slam, making the clutch after clutch. And keep in mind, they just burned those streaks to get effectively a full 60. They already have the spawns. Don't have to burn the streaks early if they don't want to. But Splyce poised up to win this first map and keep E6's respawn woes at bay for at least a short amount of time. But E6 gonna have to try to flood in the front, make a big play, but the lightning strike comes in. If it doesn't kill them, it at least slows them down. 25 seconds this game is Splyce's. E6 trying to hit from every angle, but Temp is causing problems in you. You got players top orange, you got a war machine. Do you want more streaks? You have them. Temp with his second go around on a 7 spree, by the way. And the lightning strike kills 2, kills 3, and honestly, that should seal the deal, if nothing else. 20 seconds in the game is there.
I mean, what more do you need from Temp? 35 and 14. Jared, a great game from him, 28 and 20. And that streak, of course, extremely impressive, but it's all going to be overshadowed by Temp's final stat line. He started off very well, and he hasn't slowed down at all. This is why he truly is one of the best players in the game right now. That's going to be map number 1 over. Splyce take it. And it's that type of form you expect to see from Splyce, yet it was so strange that we didn't get it last event.
And it's just one of those things. It's not even like E6 played it poorly, right? It's the only problems they had the entire time was just the score streaks. It was Temp, 2 separate occasions, goes off. I think the War Machine obviously helped him the second go around, and we saw the plays that Jared had to make just to get it. He's one shot flying in the air, calling in the grab slam, dodging fire when it's right in his face and like barely staying alive. So the little things that Splyce just did better to get the streaks to win the game, and it just seemed like a classic Splyce map, honestly.
I believe that was 7,200 damage there from Temp.
Rookie numbers.
So
you gotta pump those numbers up, Temp. It's not good enough.
Should be higher. 2 sets of streaks. Of course, his first Hellstorm didn't actually connect with anything. The second one did. But Temp with a fantastic game 1, and that's what Splyce are going to need all throughout the next couple of weeks. I know Jess caught up with Temp before the game.
Thank you, Ben. That's right, did catch up with Temp, and he just has his typical Temp attitude going on. I asked him, how have things been going? What have you been up to since London? He said, we've been big chillin', and we've got a new vibe since London. Things are great. And I asked, what are you expecting for this match versus E6? He goes, we're about to fry them bad. When I asked why, he said, we're just the better team. Let's see how the rest of the series goes. Ben and Chance, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Jess. Temp with his typical demeanor. It sounds like, of course, a very confident person and a confident player, and rightfully so. When you're putting up the numbers he has all year, you have every right to be confident, but now you just got to go that one step extra, win a championship, right? That's the next thing you expect for him in his career.
I mean, at the same time, though, we're still many weeks away from that, or, well, 2 weeks away at the very least. A lot of Call of Duty before we get to that moment. And again, as great as Temp's been, the storyline for Splyce is still about, like, that next step. Because if you look at the series they've had this entire year, they've been getting bullied out by the better teams. They're 0-3 against Optic. They're 0-2 against E-United. They're 0-2 against Gen G. At Vegas, they were 0-2 against LG. And granted, won the tournament. And then Heretics, another one. They're 0-2 against. But then if you look at the flip side, all the teams in the power rankings you think are underneath them, they always win. They always beat the teams below them. They always lose to those teams that, I guess, Heretics may be the exception, the teams you put above them in the power rankings. I think the only exception is Denial, upset them in a Game 5 back in the Pro League. But outside of that, it is completely cookie cutter.
There's one exception as well, which is 100 Thieves, right? Which Splyce do have the win there, but it was a bit of an asterisk.
I was going to say, I don't count that one. It was the very first series on LAN. They played with Priesta for 100 Thieves. So, like, I'll give them a pass on that. But that would be their best win, right? Their best win they've had on the year for any series would be against 100 Thieves on their very first, like, go-around. So, again, it's just that next step. Like, Splyce is a great team, but they have a handful of roadblocks that they just can't get past.
It's just tough when it's that many. Like those
I was surprised. The Heretics one threw me off. Because, like, Optic I knew because it's the first tournament they played twice, and then they lost to him in the Pro League. The E-United one, I'm like, okay, like, I guess I could see that. It makes sense. And then it kept going. I was like, oh, man, this is...
You dig deeper, you're like, what?
I didn't realize how, like, straightforward it was.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, we'll see. And like we said, you know, Splyce with a fair amount of time to maybe fix any of those problems. But new attitude, new look. Maybe it's just more of a relaxed feeling. Often when players kind of come in with that mentality, you tend to play a little bit better. Less stress, of course, on their shoulders as they look to try and secure themselves a spot at playoffs. Hacienda Search, though, up next, the E6 Special, or the Kismet Special, as it should be. We've seen him all year love this map. It really is one of his favorites. It got to the point where some teams actually just flat out banned the map whenever they played against E6, much to Kismet's distaste. He loves this map, like we said, and honestly, this is the moment Where for me, if E6 want to tie things up here, come back into it, you need Kismet on a strong performance here in game 2.
I mean, yeah, if you just look at their game records, it was like 4-1 in Surge, 3-9 combined in the respawns. So for E6, you're saying, okay, if we're going to have series against a team that, again, in the power rankings, whatever it be, would be above us, we have to pull off, like, old days, we'd call it a 2-3-5, but now it's just how to steal a respawn, win both S&Ds, and see if you can clutch up in the game 5.
Definitely need their Search and Destroy to be on point because they go down 2-0. Likelihood of winning 2 respawns back-to-back for E6. Not feeling too confident about that. I saw the players, obviously, on social media saying we've improved, we've practiced a lot, but it's very hard just to take a player's word for it because that's what everyone says. You have to see the results of the practice before you can really start to believe. There's already shots going down. Jet Li is so deep into a Splyce territory. Temp had no idea. That's a nice first blood to get. Of course, he does get traded instantly after.
Yeah, trades are in, but obviously, yeah, you shut Temp down, you're like, oh, problem off the map, that'll be helpful. Looney, I think, feels a little bit of the pressure. By the way, General watching the flank, able to find a couple. Looney does get taken down, but of course, the technical trade is there on General. Splyce have the information on roughly where the bomb is. I think they know all 3 players are in this ballpark, but when it comes down to it, it's almost like a normal offensive round where you get the bomb down today and you get to play your life.
Jordan's in a great position here. Can he find at least one? He does. And for E6, 1 out of fences, 1 well. Apple wants to surge forward. He'll be traded. Really smart stuff from Splyce. Now it's a 1v2. Frosty has to fight 2 individual 1v1s. Won't win the first. Accuracy with the kill. And Jerd says, thank you very much. I'll take the defuse.
Yeah, Frosty had the opportunity to make a play because I think that was the one man Splyce didn't have information on. Jared, obviously, when he killed the first, said, hey, there's 1 at well, but we're missing 1. And that's why Accuracy just playing a little bit passive, knowing that he's got to be somewhere in the fences area. That's a round well executed from Splyce.
Yeah, very well played. This is how it starts, for Jared at least. And he peeks through connector. Just waiting for the information. Aqua goes with him. The shoulder peek and the easy kill. Plus, obviously, the defuse there for Jared. Pretty little scoreline there after round 1.
He's already thinking, I'm going to earn this grassland. I'm going to get it. Make up for that first one I with on frequency. Obviously, the second helped him get streaks, but if you get 1 in search, you'll be feeling pretty good. But obviously, you know, only a quarter of the way there.
Hey, 1 round down. Pretty good stuff. Has a nade, that's unfortunate. He's more than likely going to die from mid. The EKA may have come through. I think it was Jet Li he was originally shooting at. So 4v4 for now. As GodRx spots the retreat from Splyce. Is it a double bluff? No, doesn't look like it. Full on rotation. The reason being Temp already over towards B. General has spotted him out though, and this is a round now which surely should collapse. E6 should take it.
Very aggressive play from them. Kismet again, just full speed ahead, moving everywhere, jumping over everything. Has 2 players in front, finds 1, and now the man is surrounded. Aqua, last man standing. The question is, who do you want to die to? It goes to Kismet. And you can see they were just on the hunt instantly. Like, Splyce backs down from that A site, and is 3 seconds later, Kismet is flying mid-map, as aggressive as he can possibly be. And of course, Temp getting caught out by General, obviously made it a little bit easier for E6 on the way. But a nice little bounce back round.
Well, tie things up. Kismet there in your play in the round. Fair amount of kills for him. Of course, for Jared. You can forget about the story of maybe earning streaks. He fell very early on, first blood in the round. But we'll see if maybe he does earn that grab slam. Be impressive. You need it to really be back and forth search and destroy, which, well, after the first 2 rounds at least, has been the case. Temp looking over towards B. Nothing there, but if you looked again, right about now, chance, you'd probably see a lot of the E6 boys.
And I think for a moment they were just worried about the mid-map pressure. And then you talk about mid-map pressure, Kismet just gets caught out by Looney surging forward. They do get the bomb planted. You do have General in the water who might be able to find a free kill on Accuracy. There it is. And you say 1 free kill, that entire kill feed just lights up for the side of E6. And now someone for Splyce has to make the big play. They're playing together mid-map. But Jet Li just trying to keep him in bay. You see Frosty has at least some inkling of information. The nade, though,
that was terrible.
Way off the mark.
He tried to just flick and missed by a country mile. Frosty will pay the price. Temp finds the pick. Now you have yourself a 2v2 where, honestly, if you can isolate the player mid, one of you could have defused. For General, he knows that Temp doesn't have the time to defuse the bomb. He can just toy with him if he wants. Bomb goes off. E6 win the round.
That was a really bad nade.
That was a terrible.
He could have just had the double kill in the round right there, but doesn't make a difference. I think at that point, I don't know, 17, 18 seconds left on the clock. He got a 3v2. You're feeling pretty comfortable to get the round secure either way. So E6 gets 2 rounds in a row, and if it wasn't for Jerd, maybe they'd have a little bit more life, but still in a solid spot. Again, Hacienda, E6 is home.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if Jet Li doesn't kill Jerd there, and they force that 2v1 with General at the back, that's a round Splyce should be winning. It's just a little unfortunate with how the timing of things went, because it was a good retake. Obviously, Temp flies out, manages to shut down Frosty, but still a lot of work to be done now. 6-2-1 up. It's Splyce's turn to just try and go for it. Flurry of trades means it's a 3v3. It's on Frosty now to be the first line of defense. Nade's being launched over towards him. He has to back away.
Yeah, that nade just nearly getting the stick to secure the kill, but E6 on defensive end doing a really good job of just staying alive. Looney, though, has worked himself behind enemy lines. Frosty, I don't know if he's going to make the read.
I think he hears it. Yep. As soon as he got out of the water, the splash was enough to give it away. Now GodRx has had time to flank. Advantage E6.
It's not bad. You get a nice little swarm going on. So Splyce, they feel obligated, try to make a move. There's a player in the back. Well, they don't have information on him yet. And Looney, again, didn't get spotted, so he's able to take down General. But now he's trapped in between 2 players who are nice and spread. And, of course, time not on Looney's side.
Doesn't necessarily want to just plant the bomb either. GodRx, if he falls here, might give Looney a chance. Time's ticking, 15 seconds. No chance at all. E6 in the round. And now looking at building a comfortable lead.
Honestly, just solid stuff from start to finish. You know, you have a player slide out one side and rock. You play both corners. So Splyce, they slide out for the challenges. You make sure you get the trades back and forth. And granted, Frosty was probably down to 1 HP multiple times. But doing a good enough job to stay alive, buying GodRx time to go on the full flank. And another well-executed round coming out from Enigma6.
3-1. Still not a overly comfortable lead, but 2 rounds as is. Trophy bounces back. Accuracy will be watching the cross. And, well, he gets all the information he needs. Splyce players will be rotating, but I believe E6 are sticking the bomb plant. They want to get it down. They do so successfully. Jet Li has to cover mid. Teammate is there in support, still waiting for the first play.
And another flank is in. GodRx, again, you just have the information on players, maybe around connector. You go on a flank. He does get taken down. But still, the problem is, how do you get through this area? Jet Li just dancing around, 1 HP. He's got all of his teammates here. Temp, though, with the entry kill. You're going to have to find a couple more. The flank is here, though. General doesn't turn quick enough, but again, enough people connector. Maybe enough, maybe not. Splyce, 16 seconds. You got to hunt Frosty down.
Makes so much noise. The kill comes through anyway. Temp shuts him down, and the big issue there, that round for E6, was that mid-connector control. It simply wasn't good enough. Yes, GodRx gets a quick pick and it deflects some pressure, but he's traded out instantly after that. And following that, the kills just didn't come quick enough for E6. And if you give Splyce just any amount of chance or opportunity, they will make a play. And that's exactly what you see here.
And I think it got a little bit chaotic for him as well, because I thought for a second that there was a player flanking. We switched to General's perspective, and I was like, oh, he was the one shooting at his teammates, but then Aqua was right behind him, so you don't quite have enough information on where everybody's at. And Splyce making another solid search and destroy play.
Not easy to retake the position they were in, but they make it work. It's now an important attacking round here for Splyce to tie things up. Temp 5 and 3, leading the way, but it's Aqua 6 and 5 in terms of kills. I mean, very, very well so far in just 5 rounds of search.
And this is a bit of a problem for Temp right now, because the player was spotted sliding out mid-map. I'm assuming it was Kismet, so he gets behind enemy lines. And you know he's up in the hallway, so Temp might be able to make a play. Jerd does get out with his life, but there's so much pressure up on the top of the map. Temp, though, finds one, alleviates a little bit. Kismet gets surrounded, hunted down by the remaining Splyce players. And Temp, that lone man, trying to make plays. Now Jerd's going to be the roamer on the other side of the map, but obviously bound down. 25 seconds. Splyce feeling pretty good.
Well, Jerd drops. 3v3 now, 19 seconds. That's the big downside here. 4v6 as accuracy cleans up General. 1v2. GodRx drops. Splyce win the round, tie things up 3-3. I genuinely think the key there to that round, obviously you mentioned Temp kind of playing on an island, but it was his patience. Because he obviously gets the information early in the round, and he doesn't panic. He makes sure he checks all of his corners. And then when he does check, timing's on his side. He gets the information on 2 players, kills the first, the assist comes in with the second. Another great round out of Temp.
And the way he played it as well, it's you see the player slide out mid-map, and accuracy backed up to watch like the secret door push, like the bottom middle door. So Temp doesn't feel obligated to back up and check that until accuracy leaves. But then as soon as Temp clears it out, the only way they can really flank is if they go through the top halls, which they do. But then he can just flank the flank, and then you get the kills, and you can trap him in, and you just put him in a nice little kill box and just make sure you clean up the kills. But now, again, mid-map pressure. Eventually, one player just gets overwhelmed. This time it was Looney. Now E6 getting a couple kills. Jet Li gets traded. But with the first blood, man advantage E6, and they get the bomb down for free.
And at this point, it's just bait for Aqua as much as you possibly can. If you can somehow win this round and give him the defuse, you're going to be in such a beautiful position. Because Aqua 110 away from the Lightning. And at this point, it is just operation bait for the streaks. 30 seconds. You have to make sure they don't get bad timing. And, well, Aqua has been spotted. They're checking their corners. Splyce try to break through. They're just trying to hunt down anything they can. The first player's going to slide straight in, but there was the flank from Kismet. He spotted them earlier in the round and really took his time. Very coy. It's 2v2. Bear in mind, bomb was being defused. Frosty takes care of that. Round over.
And Jerd does get that final kill, not of time. That got nerve-wracking for a second. Because when we switched to Frosty's perspective, you could see Jerd had him very weak, but that entire round was just set up for Kismet to make a play. It was he plants the bomb, he just leaves, no wasted time, goes through Lambo, flanks all the way around back through the original spawn. And you saw Aqua, they're expecting players to be around Rock, playing corners, whatever it's going to be. And by the time they finally clear everything out, well, Kismet's behind him and just secures the round once he starts shooting these players in the back.
Now if you're E6, you just got to pray that your math was correct, right? Because Aqua was 10 points. Well, he got the kill, right. So by the time he was traded, 10 off. So if you've misjudged this by 10, you may think he actually might or already earned those streaks. So we'll see if maybe they try and play any different. We'll wait and see. I doubt they make any mistakes, though, in their calculations. I'd be very surprised. But it could maybe put a little bit more pressure here on E6.
Well, E6 is effectively all playing to where they can run indoors, so maybe they're expecting there to be some sort of streak, but obviously there's not Temp though, first blood, and the bomb down. I think a sniper just ripped your head off. Thank God that he jumped right there on the cross. Splyce, well, hit marker, no hit marker. Frosty can only find one, and that'll be all he might be able to get. It's in a 1v4, and Jerd not going to give him anything for free.
It's unfortunate. That's ambitious. And that's an obvious result to the round there. Very close. Back and forth stuff.
And I like that hesitation from Jerd. You're like thinking, oh, there's a sniper up top patio. Let's go hunt him down. And as soon as he's about to go in the window, he's like, actually, you know what? We'll play it safe. We're not going to give anything away for free. And then when he eventually goes for the challenge, it was at the perfect time when Frosty had to back down and run away because accuracy showed up mid-map. And it's the little things. Granted, a 4v1, they're never going to throw away. But like in a 3v1, if a guy gets over-aggressive, maybe you throw it away. But Jerd not making mistakes, man.
Better safe than sorry, Chance. Better safe than sorry.
I would personally not try to let Frosty hit a shot because he'll hit him. I would play safe as well.
He normally hits him. Normal. But full force, speaking of hitting shots. Would have liked that, but no one home. That's a pretty saving grace here for E6's. In fact, it's accuracy that does have the angle. He shuts down General. Bomb goes down, but already 2 kills. Splyce trying to put himself in a great position to close that map too.
Force the Surgeons is here. Frosty may be forced to hit more shots. He knows Temp's going to cross. He feels the pressure backing down from fences. He's just trying to get away, but up top, Jerd's sitting here waiting for him. You got a 4v2. Splyce, all the pressure in the world. Jet Li gets traded. Last man standing gets traded again. And just like that, Splyce with the overwhelming pressure. Now, Jerd, of course, was starting to get streaks after the first round. He gets shut down early. 8 rounds later, now he's got some.
And you just need 1 round left out of 2 rounds available, and you have a Lightning. Of course, E6 will know it. A little bit of frustration there on GodRx's face. Here's how Jerd was able to get those streaks. And obviously, you go back to the round prior where you say, you know, you don't just challenge Frosty there. Well, of course, the streaks have an impact there too.
And so remind me, Ben, to talk about information, like, before we start map 3. It's going to take too long to explain, because obviously we want to focus on gameplay only and no errant conversations here. So we'll get these rounds in. But I do have a story to share.
See, you can't say that, though, because now I'm curious.
Well, Splyce is 1 round away, though. They got a lightning strike. They might just win the game. You got information. Say, hey, yo, they're over at A. Call the lightning strike on them. We'll figure out where they are. Maybe kill a couple. Get the bomb down for free.
I mean, all you have to do, realistically, is ping the lightning strike and you have a free plant.
Or you could just get the free plant, not have to use lightning. But they're going for the ping, force the players to back down. You see some blue arrows scatter to try to get indoors. Looks like GodRx might be playing aggressive on it, but he actually just calls it in. Not sure if he's going to connect.
Yeah, I don't even really mind that, to be fair. Because now you've given yourself what was a 5v4. Kismet makes it a 4v4. Now it's just important that you don't bottle it, hold your own. There's a Hellstorm. Yeah,
hey, they win straight away.
Game over. So, that was a lot of information there.
Worked out pretty well. What are you talking about? Jet Li's gonna not clutch. E6, they were phenomenal at Search and Destroy back at London. When you say phenomenal, obviously they only played it a couple times. But either way, they were pretty good. It was the respawn that was a struggle. But Splyce, a team that is obviously great at every single game mode, get the convincing win by the end off the back of King George. This is honestly 2 maps in a row. It's just score streaks.
Yeah, that's basically what it's come down to. And for Splyce, it's 2 maps in a row where they have dominated the score streaks. And you know, game 1 was close at times. Game 2, very, very close until, of course, Judd was able to be the difference maker for the team. He's actually got streaks in both game 1 and 2. So credit to him with a strong performance to his start of Splyce's 2 weeks. As it stands, Splyce 2, Enigma6 0. We'll be back after this with game 3 and Chance talking all things information.
The Call of Duty World League is presented by PlayStation 4, the official platform of the CWL, Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the CWL, and Republic of Gamers, the official monitor of the CWL.
do amp game fuel. Level up the game.
Splyce 2-0 up against Enigma6. Now, of course, we head over to Game 3 control. It's going to be a respawn. If you're an E6 fan, don't hold your breath. It's looking more and more likely that Splyce will come out and get a 3-0 to start the day. Of course, up next, we will go to frequency control. But before we get there, Chance, I've been thinking about it. I need your wisdom, information in search.
So we heard call-outs from Splyce on map 1 with the Astro Gaming listen-in, and something that was noted of Jerd, not the loudest guy always, but he did call out at one moment, hey, he's got a grab slam, watch out for the grab slam. He goes back to normal quiet mode. Then 20 seconds later, his teammates call out, he's grappling in, and Jerd instantly, he's got the grab slam, watch out. And that's like veteran, have that information in your head and make sure your teammates know at all times exactly whatever they're gonna need to.
Sure.
Then we saw in the search and destroy, Accuracy played the spot on fences with the ICR all the way to the side, playing for the information on the cross, but a couple rounds later, he does the exact same thing Frosty didn't know. He doesn't go for the snipe, and that time Accuracy gets that pick for the first blood, eventually to win the round in the game. So I'm just saying, you call out the details to your teammates. You got to cover the little things, and it can go a long way. I'm not saying that's what happened. Maybe he just didn't want to go for that snipe because it's not an easy shot to hit. You have to do it kind of early on. But, you know,
still,
just a way to talk up Splyce a little bit, of doing the nitty-gritty, the very fine details correctly.
Well, so far in this round, in terms of doing the details correctly, it is E6. Almost 2 ticks in towards B. In fact, it's over 2 ticks now. The third will be decapped, but a lot of pressure put over towards the B side of the map. This is a gunfight Accuracy has to win, does, but he's traded out, and E6 still pushing over towards B.
Yeah, and they're just trying to find whatever kills they can get, because obviously that B point is essentially just going to be given away. And Jerd, well, the final man does get taken down, so you get a point, you got a 3-life advantage. And of course, the life advantage, well, if you're E6, you don't want it to come at play, you just want to go and capture that point.
What do you personally prefer, capping A or B on this map first?
Honestly, whichever I can get. I would always, for this map specifically, I would do everything I can to play it off the other teams, figure out what their typical defensive setup is, and then go for the one that I think would be easier to break. Because on this map, I don't heftily rate one or the other, because honestly, for either of them, it's once you get full control, you're in a great spot. You just have to get that full control.
Down to those first wave of kills, and well, E6 with the advantage here. Already a tick. Like that, already 2 ticks into A. Nade should be enough to really slow anything down. If Frosty gets a kill with a nade, plus maybe the cap, would have been great. Doesn't matter. I'll take the cap very early on. Great round from E6.
And I believe that was it Frosty's perspective we were on there at the very end? He's like 150 off his streaks, something like that, 125, 150. So he's in the neighborhood. Maybe a kill or 2, some EKIA. He'll at least get that lightning strike. So something to watch at the start of the round. Either way, that was as dominating as you could really get of a first round. Clean round, you're up by 13 lives, something like that. Towards the end, you get both points in fairly quick succession. And again, the weak point for E6 has been the respawn, so this is where you expect them to try to make the improvements, turn their gameplay around.
I mean, game 1 started well.
Again, if it wasn't for the score streaks, they had to deal with 3 sets of them by the tail end of it. And sometimes, you know, Temp just does that.
Well, now it's Frosty and Kismet who are close. And the problem they're going to have is they're not going to want to just throw away their lives over towards A that close to streaks. And for Splyce, it's almost a free cap. In fact, I think it might actually just be a complete free cap. I think they're all going to die. Kismet over challenges. He falls. Frosty does not want to die. Now, he's trying to play for spawn kills. The problem is, no one from Splyce is dead.
No one spawned at all, so you don't have to worry about it yet. General is able to find a kill, maybe give something Frosty to look for, because he has just circled the entire map. So he's able to find one. His teammates are able to stabilize. So when all is said and done, not a bad opening break if you can find the first kill, and then he flies out, just happens to be in between 2 people. So he does fall.
Oh, and Kismet doesn't even find the kill. Well, unfortunate there is now with just shy of 2 minutes left, you can see Splyce's intent. They don't care about B at this point. It's let's build ourselves the biggest lead possible. And if we do get 5 dead, maybe then we'll think about it as Temp puts on a spawn trap show. The lead at 5 now. Make it 6. As Looney shuts down Jet Li, he's spotted someone else, and Looney's shot has been almost perfect this entire series.
Yeah, he started out 0-5, or maybe 0-4, and since then is now obviously 5-1, make it 6-2, whatever it's going to be. So nice little turnaround from him. And of course, the instant snap decision from Splyce. He spawn killed for a moment. As soon as you have to make the break towards B, they're there. One tick is through.
It just makes me laugh. Everyone from Splyce ran forward. Aqua's just sat inside the zone. Don't worry, guys. I'll cap this first tick. Don't worry about it, boys. I got it. Of course, Splyce doing the absolute right thing. Just a bit of comedy.
That's like the, well, it was Aqua this time. Wow. You just had me say Aqua, like naturally.
What do you mean? That's how you say it.
It's Aqua.
That
is, he's American, or like he's from the North America.
So it's Aquaman, is it? No, it's Aquaman.
Aquaman. Aquaman?
Yes.
Is that? Do Americans say Aquaman?
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't sound right at all.
Well, that's what you say.
I know. That's why. Anyway, there's gameplay going on. Splyce's team
done.
killing everyone because Aqua.
This was over a while ago, Chance.
It really was.
Don't even worry about this round. Splyce just put on a clinic, an absolute clinic. It was strange because E6's first round was actually very well done in terms of the actual capping both hills very, very quickly.
Yes, it was.
This round, a little different. Kismet will own streaks, though, so despite losing the round, which is inevitable, unless you want to maybe go for a very ambitious play, never mind.
You definitely don't. You play for the streaks, and Frosty, as soon as his teammate dies, he can't bait for him anymore, jumps off the map, so.
You lightning strike, you use your War Machine, you really put your pedal to now. No.
I will say, I want players and teams to go for situations like that more, but just not that, like a 2v7 is too much. A 2v7 when you're on offense, like
3v7
for a set.
And they're on defense.
Again, in the future, I don't know about this one specifically, but these types of plays that it would be cool to see them because that's what the streaks are there for. They're not for, hey, you're already destroying them in this round, destroy them by more. It's you're in a bad spot. Here's a get out of jail free kind of thing. Kismet's a Monopoly man.
As it stands, 1-1. Jet Li not going to be able to fully grapple in. And, well, it's not going to cost him. The stun. Get him clean in the chest. Kismet, rather, looking to just clean up the final couple of kills as Jet Li actually bounced off the map. A little unfortunate. Splyce, good defensive hold.
Jared's got the better karate moves. You can't mess with the OG Karate Kid. Jet Li being taught a lesson. He falls off the mat. And well, it's a question of specialist battle. You got a question of everything. Score streaks on board. E6 trying to get that offensive win.
Oh, she said E6 on attack. We'll go to Astro Gaming listening with E6.
Pop my world, pop my world.
He's mid, one guy's mid, one guy's mid, bro.
One's on patio as well. Nothing close, nothing close.
Nothing close.
Yeah,
He's in blue with the can.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll get
Top radar, top radar, top radar, top radar.
Go middle, under window.
I'll kill mid, I'll kill mid.
Close here. Yo, one's in on me. Yo,
mid absolute, mid absolute.
To their side, there's one tweak there, one tweak their side.
I killed one, on their side.
Absolutely nice.
Very good.
Yo, Jared's on gold,
Nice, Jordan.
I got close.
Spawn dead.
Another gold.
Killer gold.
Yeah, if we can get our pipes, that's big.
You can just push
Nothing pipes, nothing pipes.
Yo,
I'm flanking their side elbow, bro.
Help him mid. I'll help you orange.
Our staircase, he's going around our window.
Help him, guys.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I can shake on my feet.
Kill him mid first.
Yeah, two red pipes on me. Alright, too close.
One spawn mid, I think.
I don't see him bottom. Yo, you.
Nice, two. He's middle, ladders. I'm pretty sure he's ladders.
Jared.
That was all five.
Yeah, I'm shaking their side.
Team starter.
Alright, I'm close their side. Watch their side outer.
I'm going ladders.
Kismet invests the lightning, and that very well could mean General gets his streaks too. Tempest is out. Of course, something to consider in terms of E6's bad record in recent times. This was a map where they played against, I believe it was Up to Gaming and Game combination, and they absolutely shut them out of the water.
Was that a 3-0 they had?
Yes, and they looked because they looked that good. That's why. They really were fantastic on this map. And with a minute 20, 2 ticks into B, this is going to be hard to hold considering General as well has another lightning.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, the biggest takeaway is probably choking extra streaks, but they're still getting at least the first. Temp reads the second gunfight, can't quite finish the kill off. But still, when all said and done, it's just a tick game. You got one tick left. Frosty is thinking about some spawn kills, keeping these Splyce players at bay, and that just alleviates pressure for his teammates. But honestly, you got bodies everywhere on this map. It's just chaos.
Yeah, it is. It really is, and it's a 6v6. The third tick coming through. Accuracy had to win the gunfight, doesn't. Kismet will. Now Splyce down to their final lives. Temp just tries to delay the push. He will fall. Grab Slam is available just in case. I don't even think you need to use it though. This, an easy one now for E6. 5v2. Round over.
That's back-to-back-to-back. Offensive round wins in E6. Again, picking up at least a couple streaks along the way. General obviously was able to get the Lightning in this round and, well, couldn't connect with the Tempest, but you still get the round win. And that really just comes down to the moments of how do you handle the pressure. Like we were talking about the communication from both teams. How we acknowledged for Splyce was really good. For E6, maybe something. And again, it's a bit of a stretch to even say that, but there's a chaotic situation at the end. You got Frosty going for spawn kills, keeping the players at bay, making sure your teammates can come back to the hill, and they're even making sure you're turning around and taking care of accuracy before you just go for the point outright. But solid stuff in E6 with that 2-1 lead.
It's a very weird round, though, in terms of positioning of pretty much everyone. As Jet Li flies on in towards A, nothing there. Splyce, they want to attack B, and General has a lightning strike for him.
As quick of a call as you could ask for. Expect the players to surge forward. Jerd a little bit too slow. He's going to fall. Of course, General with the lightning strike finds one. His teammates, it takes him an extra second to find anything. He's there to get the final kills himself, so when all's said and done, you at least buy yourself, well, map pressure and a 2-life advantage. Of course, players hunting General down potentially. He's trying to do his best job to stay alive, and so far, so good.
So well played from General. So well played, just to value his life as well as he did. And now, Splyce, as they try to attack in again, U6 have the reinforcements, and Jet Li still waiting to pull the trigger on the Grab Slam if Splyce decides to push over towards A.
Again, just doing his job, stay alive. This is honestly a key thing for your main ARs. How long can they stay alive for? Well, the pressure's coming forward. He's doing just enough. Frosty for the help, and you find 2 kills and some pressure. Now he's just going to fly forward, and honestly, you got the players trapped in. You're pinching him from every single angle. Temp's trying to run away, and he can, because Frosty ran out of ammo, and Temp team kills as well, but this is E6. They're trying to get this 3-1.
Yeah, I believe that was 2 team kills in there. Finally, Jet Li may be able to put the Grab Slam to some use. There's a double. Honestly, Chance, this round, I'm starting to think, is over.
Well, Temp's got a War Machine. He's going to have to pull it out. Looney's got the Tempest. He's going to have to pull that out. You're going to have to make the big play. The problem is Vision Pulse is coming in, and that's Frosty that's going to use it. So you don't have the information. Looney, well, he's shut down. No Tempest just yet. I don't hear the War Machine shots. Kismet with the team kill, maybe an opening, and here's the War Machine trying to get inside. Splyce at least able to get into A.
8.9 seconds. Here's Temp, the difference maker. You're still down 4 lives. If you're E6, do not panic in this situation. You can trap them inside A. You can really think about anything else.
He got accuracy. He's either got it or is an inch away from getting that Vision Pulse. He's got it. He's calling it in. They're trying to find the kills. You're down by 3 lives, but you have a point. You can make a move. Jerd, the play's here if he wants it. He knows there's 3. Can only find 1 and gets traded. The players barely able to get behind that wall. But at the same time, Splyce, they're in the point.
Yeah, now it's just about trying to extend the round. And the reason this actually might work out is because accuracy's spawn killing, and he's now close to streaks as well. A wonderful decision from him could pay massive dividends for Splyce to push it into a round 5. The fact he falls is a little frustrating for him. No streaks, but now all of a sudden you have Temp close to streaks as well. Oh no, Chance, it was streaks in game 1. It was streaks in game 2. Surely not streaks in game 3 to cause problems for E6.
And that is just very well executed. They had 1 play at the end. That is, you either have to use the Tempest or you have to use the War Machine. You have to bully your way into the hill. Because you had Jet Li, he picked up 2 here. The Vision Pulse came in from Frosty, and the War Machine had to fight through that Vision Pulse just to get to the point. And then accuracy, again, it was like they wrote it down, earned his Vision Pulse in the nick of time to help for that adjustment. Of course, the spawn kills at the end certainly helped.
Temp close to streaks, Aqua close to streaks. The problem for Splyce is they haven't won a defensive round just yet. The pressure already coming in towards A. First blood for Splyce, though. What more is there to be found? Well, it's a 4-for-2 trade. Big advantage, Splyce, 5 dead. And already, Temp pushing up. He could maybe invest a streak here if his teammates were quick enough to get control. They're not. They need another wave of kills before he can think about spawn trapping with streaks.
I was going to say, as soon as you get that 5 down, that's about instant. But they were spread out just a little bit. So Temp, he's responsible for B accuracy. He can do this in shoulder peek all day. Splyce, they are just playing for that map control game. Temp, I think, feels the pressure. That's why Jerd's rotating towards them. The nade covers one side. His back, though, wasn't covered by his teammates quite quick enough, so he falls. E6 in the point. But keep in mind, Temp off respawn, just calling the streaks.
That's exactly what the game plan is going to be. So if you're a Temp, you're saying, hey, guys, stay alive. Don't worry. I have streaks for this exact moment. As Jared starts to decap, but they know the pressure is coming from underground. He gets pinched in. Now, all of a sudden, the early Splyce lead has started to fall away.
Temp does find one. Keep in mind, Specialist helped out Splyce massively in the previous round. Well, General might be able to make a play with his Tempest, make up for the first one. Frosty inside the hill, he's dancing as much as he can. He's got Kismet for the help, doing a great job of staying alive, and here's the Tempest General, can only find one, and they're trying to get clearance to the point, but it's just trades back and forth.
Yep, massive trades, and this is working heavily in favor of Splyce. 35 seconds now on attack over towards the other side of the map. It's going to be A. Kismet does have the War Machine, but the trophy, as you can see, was causing him maybe a little bit of problems. Jared stuck between a rock and a hard place, finally gets out. He survived. 2 life advantage, A gone, 2 ticks, all E6 need, and Frosty gets away by the skin of his teeth.
They're trapped in though. E6 is fairly trapped in. They gotta pick a side and push. They're gonna try to force it out the back. Jared looking for the kills. He's just gonna get hunted down. His teammates are here for the trades, and Splyce still has that life advantage by a grand total of 1. And Kismet, the only man with a Specialist in the lobby, can he get a good use out of his War Machine?
And more importantly, no one from Splyce is going to get theirs. It's just not going to happen. In 60 seconds, that would be absolutely mind-blowing. You never know, though. You never know when Temp's in the team. A player that we saw on this exact map in game mode get 4 War Machines. Or, sorry, no, 3 War Machines. It was a ridiculous feat, that's for sure, but he's done it. Splyce extend the lead to 2. Back down to 1, or back to 2, rather. There's a trade elsewhere comes out, and again, Kismet is the playmaker here. You have to use this correctly.
You're down by 2, but you've got 1 take. You're just hoping for a clean break. Keep in mind, Jared trying to float mid-map, and E6 are actually playing this passive. They're waiting to find some picks, but you don't get them. Or Kismet actually does trade himself out with the nade, but the War Machine coming off respawn. You only got 24 seconds, and Splyce is being annoying. Aqua's underneath cages. You got Looney staving off the pressure from pipes. Now you have to use it. You can see that trophy's down. I don't know what he expects to be able to do, or maybe that's his teammate's trophy. Whatever it's going to be, the nade's coming through. They try to throw a trophy, but it falls off the map. Frosty's going to team kill 6v2, though. Splyce should be able to hold on. They're going to do it. They are going to secure the 3-0 victory.
A very nice way for Splyce to start their weeks here in Columbus, Ohio. A 3-0, a team which, coming in, a lot of people said were in trouble. Said they weren't really going to have a good couple of weeks here. However, the 3-0 against E6 is going to give them maybe a bit of a boost into the rest of the week's games.
We'll see how it pans out. Again, it's a situation for both of these teams where the storylines, the narratives, you got to play the 2 weeks well.
You sure do. Here's a look at the Scuff play of the game. It was Splyce and their defensive hold. Maybe Kismet just held onto that War Machine a little too long.
And you obviously, I thought the play might have been in front of him as well, because you had 3 players in this area. Then he commits with the nade, and granted, he comes back, and I guess it was actually his teammate's trophy that was down, so maybe they were waiting for the guaranteed clearance to be able to use it. But 5v7, 18 seconds, you're panicking just a little bit.
Oh, you're panicking a lot.
Panicking a lot, and then you just feel obligated to spam it. And obviously, the flak jacket was helping out Splyce as well. It was just every single one of these kills and the team kill. Just such a tough moment. You got guys trying to make plays mid-map, but Splyce, they had it covered. They were on top of it. They knew it was going to happen, and they executed to perfection.
Team kill, probably the worst player you could have picked up there. The only player in the entire game with a Specialist at that situation. Yep. But either way, as we said, for Splyce, a good start to their week's games. A 3-0 for E6. Kind of back to the drawing board. Again, it's been very, very tough for them. They've obviously said, been very, very vocal on social media. You know, we've improved, yet we're still yet to really see it. But that's everything from myself and Chance for today. We can send it over to Jess for the PlayStation Instant Reaction with Temp.
Thanks, Ben. Before this match, you said we're going to fry them, and it was a 3-0, but each round seemed pretty close. What is your overall takeaway from this series?
That we do what we're supposed to do. We got to keep getting better. And yeah, that's it. That's the only thing I'm taking away.
You also said we're just a better team. What makes you a better team than E6?
Come on. What type of question is this? I mean, I'm on the team, first of all. That's one reason, right? Jared's nasty. Yuli's nasty. Danny's nasty. Lamar's nasty. I believe in them. I believe we were the better team, so I came in confident.
All right, that's fantastic. And you also said you have a different vibe, which we can all see. What is different? What changed since London?
We're just digging deep. Trying to win. And that's it.
All right, well said. Thank you so much. This has been your PlayStation Instant Reaction. Over to Katie at the desk. Thank you. Jess, you heard it from Temp. All confidence through that entire short but very concise interview, I'd say. And
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what he wanted to say right off rip.
He's like, what?
Come on.
Come on.
Well, I mean,
He told himself.
all right, so to that point that we talked about earlier, though, that E6 has said that they've been improving, but clearly not enough, nameless to even take a map off of Temp and Splyce.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I thought going into the series, right? Like, Splyce is a team they've been in these situations, right? They've been in tough times before, and they've also been in great positions during this game. They have superstar players, and we see them come alive on certain maps. We saw Temp come alive in that game 1, and great team effort on that game number 2, right? Like, the game was won in round number 9 right there. They had bombed down, and, you know, Splyce got the miraculous retake off of that first blood of accuracy. So it's just teamwork. It's there. It's will they be able to improve upon it, because they're trying to get a championship, right? Like, E6 isn't a team that they're going up against like this is going to be stressful. Like, they go into it thinking they're going to win, and it translated to their gameplay.
Well, in study, it felt like in that control at the very end there, E6 kind of, you know, screwed themselves over, if you say it daintily. I mean, they had the kill on Kismet, and then it all just fell apart.
It was a tough spot.
Yeah, it was a tough spot. You know, before that round when it was a 2-1 situation, I'm pretty sure Splyce at the end of that were able to pick up some streaks. And going into that next round, we're basically going on offense. It's going to be really hard to capture the B site. I can understand that's why they took out the A in the beginning. But Splyce basically used those streaks to be aggressive, game positioning and stuff like that. And E6 just didn't have a counter. We saw Kismet at the end get team killed, and that's truly unfortunate because we felt like he probably could have used it a little earlier, probably opened up the game. But overall, it was a great performance out of Splyce.
They could have won that last round there. Like, the kills were pretty close. Accuracy won a really big one-on-one in that top window to kind of keep that kill lead. Splyce were trying to spawn trap them, but E6 got out, actually, and then there was just too much pressure on their side of that A site for them to get, or B site, excuse me, to get in. So I think Splyce did a really good job winning that defense. I believe it was the first defense won on the map, so it was a great play.
I think there were some positive signs even in the 3-0 from
there was.
There was. The first game was pretty close considering how good Donnie played in that map. He just went completely off. Second game, they were in positions to win. They weren't able to hold the connector points on some of those A takes. Had they been able to do that, they could have closed out that map, and they could have extended that series. Game 3 went to the last round, and they just lost because of the streaks. Like Jay said, they were not able to come back after being on the back foot. That like those little things right there made E6 lose that series. But realistically, they weren't that far behind in this match.
Yeah, no, not at all. Games 2, I thought that they were in a great position to win, especially when they had bombed down. They just gave up that first blood. If they hid, they probably win that round, and Jared doesn't get streaks, and who knows the outcome.
All right, let's pull up our Division B standings now that we're done with our first 2 series of this week. And again, Splyce increasing that, moving on upward. But really, I think aside from Envy losing, this went about as expected, especially with Splyce 3-0.
I mean, I think we all expected Splyce to win. That Envy one's tough. And now, for this division right here, this Splyce Envy race is super close. And neither one of those teams wants to be in that 5th spot, because right now, that 5th spot plays Luminosity in that 8th spot. Yeah. And that's not where you want to be come playoffs.
I mean, that's definitely true, but I mean, we've talked a little bit about how those slots like 5, 6, 7, 8, like that's going to be a gauntlet potentially when you have like the LGs of the world, if they manage to recover, if they have Ricky in or otherwise, like that is going to be a gauntlet.
When it comes time for that match, they won't have Ricky.
Yeah, they will not.
They'll have a solid roster when it comes. They might not even be in 8th. They might work their way up in the cross division, but right now they are in 8th. And they will be a lot better come playoffs than they are right now.
This is race for that top 4 spot. It's just so crucial anyways, right? Like, that match, Splyce versus Envy, is going to be a really big match, like, for the standings. I think both those teams will be pretty solid over the 2 weeks, but, you know, definitely going to see some improvement on both sides, I think.
Then where do you think E6 can go from this? Do you think that they can maybe claw a couple wins away from someone, or
I think
pretty standard?
I don't think we'll see a situation where they're just not winning matches, right? Like, that's a team they just played Splyce. Like, Splyce is a fantastic team, top 3 twice. Like, that's a team that has the potential to win a championship. We've seen it before. It's a tough match, but E6, they showed some life in that series. The game 1, Temp went off. It's tough to play against him. You have 2 frequencies against a guy who has incredible gun skill. Like, that's a very tough matchup. So I do think that they'll win a few matches.
Now, on the side of Splyce, of course, they come out, they get this 3-0, they're looking really good. Temp is doing what Temp does. But do you think that's going to carry over into something like Anaheim, get past that top 12, and maybe get that first win?
I mean, not based off this one map or this one match. If they can continue this going forward within these 2 weeks, I do not expect them to get 12th again, of course. Temp just had one of those performances, and if the team gels like we know they can, if accuracy plays up to his potential, this team's not going to be a 12th place team. At worst, I see them getting like top 6 if they're able to gel and get back to the point, and that's a horrible placing for these guys.
Yeah, I think top 12 is a fluke for that roster. Right. I don't think we'll see that again. I think this is a team that, you know, at their worst, like, they will get top 12 at their very worst, and that's like everything going wrong for them. So I think going forward, we'll see a lot more life from Splyce. They're just too good for them to place top 12.
All right, and on that note, let's bring up our PlayStation Damaged Out leaderboard, where Temp is going to be, of course, sitting at the top. Still a lot more Call of Duty to be played, but following right behind.
What was the stat?
Pretty sure JP brought up a stat where Temp had 9 maps where he just had over 7K damage. The next one behind him is gunless with 4. So this guy's going to absolutely destroy the Damage Out leaderboard every time he's here.
Yeah, that is very true. And again, you can see there's only been 4 teams that played today, so this will certainly shuffle. But I wouldn't be surprised if Temp still continues to sit on top throughout this week. But you can see it now. Your schedule starting tomorrow will be the champions of London going up against Denial, who did get that win earlier today. But again, it is officially the start of Division B. We have 2 more weeks here in Columbus before we head over to Anaheim. Denial came out strong in a 3-2 win over Team Envy after a weak London placing. Don't forget Anaheim tickets. We want you to be there. Same with Miami. Team passes are available, so make sure you buy them and come out. Now, Splyce also started the week with a strong win over E6, but Tuesday, we will be kicking things off with 100 Thieves versus Denial.